Greetings, everyone. Good morning from wherever you are. Um, so, today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite plants. And I think everybody should have this plant in their home. Everybody. It's just one of those things I think is just essential. If you ever ask, what do you think I should have? What do you absolutely, I have my top 10. I have my top 25. I have my top five. But this is one of those plants that I think everyone should have. And so if we take it to the basics, because I think a lot of things I want to focus on are very basic, and then we can always get into some of the more, complex uh, plants, medicinals. But one of the things that I think everyone should have is this plant right here. This plant right here. For me, A is for aloe. Everyone should have aloe. And so you probably want to ask me, well, why should everyone have aloe? What's the big deal about aloe? Well, even if you think that or I wouldn't say think, maybe you are a plant killer. Maybe you can't, maintain plants. Maybe it's just something, we used to say, well, people used to say you have a brown thumb. But aloe is one of those plants that just pretty much takes care of itself. If you have one, you can have a potted one inside or you could have one outside. It pretty much takes care of itself. Aloe is just one of those plants that you don't have to pet and powder. So aloe for me is very, very powerful. I remember there was a local seller that was doing like all these different aloe juices. And a lot of you might recall, I want to say within the last 10 years, aloe juice became really, really like trendy. People were mixing it with all kinds of stuff. We had this one shop where the man had mango and all kind of flavors in his aloe. Me personally, I'm not an aloe drinker. Okay, I definitely have tried it, but I'm not an aloe drinker. That's not my thing. But if you're an aloe drinker, and I don't think anything's wrong with drinking aloe because it has some amazing properties, antibacterial, it's an antioxidant. It's one of those plants that is so versatile because not everything you could take internally and externally. And the reason for that, not necessarily that it's poisonous, but it might be more irritating on the skin. So aloe is one of those plants that for me is like my major to go to for skin issues. And not necessarily in a cosmetic sense, but it's just a major skin healer. I'll give you a few examples. A couple of years ago, I was working with an older gentleman. I want to say he was in his late 50s. And over the weekend, he had a barbecue, and he had a really bad burn on his hand, really bad burn. And I was almost reluctant, as a nurse to say, well, try this. But I think it wasn't so severe where, I was low, it was like a third degree. No, it wasn't like that. But it was pretty bad. And it was a large burn. And so he came to me and kind of showed me it. And I said, okay. I said, well, are you open to some, different remedies? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, well, if you have aloe, and he was old school, so he was open. And I said, if you have aloe, I want you to put some aloe on it, like every day. And so he started putting the aloe on his burn. And he came to me every day and showed me the improvement. I will tell you, and I wish I had pretty much journaled how long it took, but it didn't take that long. I would say, I want to say it was less than a month. But when he finally came back, and this was a lighter complected man, lighter complexion man. And when he finally came back, I want to tell y'all, you barely could tell he ever had a burn on that hand. Aloe is just that amazing. Another thing I've seen with aloe personally, I've had my own challenges with skin for my whole life, but I remember there was a lot of community um, like boils and stuff going on, and I had one on my foot. Just kind of one day, it just popped up. It was really bad, and it was to the point where it was so bad that it swole up the whole part of my foot. And I remember I was working, an instructor at the time, so I was taking students to the hospital. And I remember just being in so much agony. My foot was swollen and it was bad. And, You would think at the time I would have just said, let me just get my tools, my medicines. But it was so bad that I said, you know what, maybe I should go to the hospital. Maybe this is really, really bad. So I went to the hospital, they gave me some meds, and I took them, and nothing happened. See, this is where a lot of times we get a lot of respect for our herbs, because we realize that we should have grabbed them in the first place, you know? I think that was one of the first times, and this was over 10 years ago. This was 11 years ago. No, this was 13 years ago, right? And so I had a lot. I had to really give a lot of respect to herbs at that point. I had to give up the respect to my herbs, and so I intuited a remedy for myself. I just said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put together this compress. I'm going to do it every day. And it didn't even take long. I put some oregano oil, which is one of my favorite to go tos. I feel like oregano oil will kill stuff. It kills stuff. I've seen it help whooping cough, okay? But that's a whole nother video. Anyway, it's one of those powerful things, but I'm starting to feel like they're not making it as strong as they used to. They say it's super strength, and it still doesn't feel like super strength. Yeah, it'll burn out the rubber stopper, but it doesn't taste the same. So I had a compress that I applied on my foot with oregano oil, some golden seal powder, not a lot, and aloe. And I put it on my foot. And I covered it up. And I did that, I don't even think it was a week. It might have been 3 days. And that thing was gone. And it never came back. And I will say this, it was kind of like something that was going around, because even my daughter had it. And at the time when she had it, it just didn't come to me that that's what we should do, because it was just so severe, it was so big. And, you know, a lot of times we get turned, when we see something that's really major, we'll say, oh my God, you know, I got to go to the hospital, I got to go to the doctor. It's got to be something beyond my scope or beyond my understanding. And oftentimes we overlook our toolbox, our herbs, our medicinals, the things that are growing around us, the things that we have access to. I mean, we are our healers. We are our healers, okay? And I'm not saying if you got a broken leg, or if you have a seizure. I'm not talking about medical emergencies. Please get that, please. A medical emergency is a medical emergency. But I'm talking about things that we can work with. Things that are not beyond our control. And I'm funny using that word control, because I really don't think that's really control. Is almost like an illusion, but we could get into that another day. Anyway, so this same aloe plant, also I had a family member that was having swelling, just really bad swelling in the foot. And it was one of those things where they were like, yeah, I'm on my meds, I'm taking my meds, but it just doesn't seem to be helping. And so, again, it was just intuitive. I was like, okay, we're going to make you some aloe foot washes and some aloe compresses. And lo and behold, aloe stepped up again. Aloe was able to decrease the swelling within a few days, because I remember he wasn't at my house for a week. It was less than a week. It might have been, again, another couple of nights. So just so you know, aloe is just one of those things that if you want to grow any plant, I know plants can be really pretty, make the house look really awesome, give off great oxygen, help with oxygen exchange. But that is one of the plants that you should have, is aloe. And it's not necessarily just for burns, it's for most of the things that go on with the skin, for sunburns. It's just an amazing, amazing treatment. And so it's one of those things, when you think about any kind of plant or herb, A is for aloe, okay? Aloe helps dental plaque. Aloe helps with like sores on your mouth. Aloe, and this is all evidence-based. This is stuff that you can look up in a journal, because they've done the studies. So if they've done the studies, you would think it would be widely toted around. Get aloe, have aloe. Nobody's gonna make it easy for you, okay? It's just what it is. And so it also helps with constipation. So Aloe is one of those things I think everybody should have. And so when you think about your plants, your medicinals, your herbs, A is for aloe.